June 25th, 1975, a date carved in India's democratic history as one of its darkest hours. Today, the nation observes 50 years since the imposition of the emergency, marked by widespread suppression of civil liberties. The period remains a cautionary tale for generations. Our next report by Ragini Sudhir Chaure revisits the chapter, the latest political reaction surrounding its anniversary.
It was the midnight of June 25, 1975, that then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi declared a state of emergency across India. For the next 21 months, the constitution was weaponized, dissent crushed, press censored, and voices silenced. 50 years later, the Union Cabinet, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, passed a resolution condemning what it called a Samvidhan Hatya Divas, which translates into a day to commemorate the murder of Constitution. A 2-minute silence was observed in the memory of those who suffered during the period. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in a tweet on social media platform X, said, and I quote, "The people of India mark this day as Samvidhan Hatya Divas. On this day, the values enshrined in the Indian Constitution were set aside, fundamental rights were suspended, press freedom was extinguished, and several political leaders, social workers, students, and ordinary citizens were jailed. It was as if the Congress government in power at that time placed democracy under arrest." Home Minister Amit Shah, while launching the Emergency Diaries, a book that chronicles Prime Minister Modi's personal experiences during those years, called the emergency an era of injustice.
हमारे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने 25 तारीख का ये दिन संविधान हत्या दिन के रूप में मनाने का सरकारी निर्णय किया है। जिस प्रकार से आपातकाल में देश को एक जेल खाना बनाकर रख दिया था, देश की आत्मा को मूंगा कर रख दिया गया था, न्यायालय के कान को बहरा कर रख दिया गया था, लिखने वालों की कलम से स्याही ही निकाल दी गई थी.
The book relies on first-hand accounts and archival material, offering a glimpse into how those turbulent years shaped Narendra Modi's political journey. Meanwhile, Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said the cabinet's tribute was a gesture to honor the resilience of those who stood up against the then government's move of imposing emergency.
The Union Cabinet, chaired by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, resolved to commemorate and honor the sacrifices of countless individuals who valiantly resisted the emergency and its attempt at subversion of the spirit of Indian Constitution. A subversion which began in 1974 with a heavy-handed attempt at crushing the Navnirman Andolan and Sampurn Kranti Abhiyan. To mark the occasion, a 2-minute silence was observed in today's meeting of the Union Cabinet as a tribute to those whose constitutionally guaranteed democratic rights were taken away.
Meanwhile, External Affairs Minister Dr. S.J. Shankar has also called the painful chapter of independent India's history on the social media post X. He said, and I quote, "Institutions were undermined, rights were suspended, and accountability was set aside. It also remains a powerful reminder of our collective duty to safeguard constitutional values and uphold the resilience of Indian democracy." As India looks back on that chapter, the memories of the emergency are still fresh. It continues to be a reminder that in a democracy, the voice of the people always reigns supreme. Ragini Sudhir Chaure for DD India.
The emergency of June 1975 is regarded as one of the darkest periods in India's democratic history, marked by constitutional changes, loss of fundamental rights, suppression of personal freedoms and press censorship. Forced sterilizations and widespread repression left lasting scars on the nation's collective memory. Here's more.
Emergency declared on the night of June 25-26 in 1975 is remembered as a dark chapter in Indian democracy. The constitution was misused to suppress dissent, and efforts were made to reshape it to enable authoritarian rule. Citizens were stripped of their fundamental rights, freedom of speech was denied, and the press was censored. The public had access only to the information that Indira Gandhi's government approved and allowed to be published. All dissenting leaders, along with activists, journalists, and academicians who raised their voices against the emergency, were arrested. The harshness of the period continues to serve as a grim reminder of the events that unfolded. Following the declaration of emergency, the government arrested key opposition leaders under laws like under Maintenance of Internal Security Act, Defense of Indian Rules. Prominent figures including Morarji Desai, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Lal Krishna Advani, George Fernandez, Jayaprakash Narayan, and even Congress leader Chandrasekhar were jailed and held at undisclosed locations. A law was enacted denying arrested individuals the right to court hearings or bail. Their families and associates were kept uninformed. Visits were heavily monitored by intelligence officials, and the communication was censored too. At the onset of emergency, Articles 14, 21, and 22 of the Constitution were suspended. This move took away the guarantees of equality before the law, protection of life and property, and the right to be presented before a court within 24 hours of arrest. In January 1976, Article 19 was also suspended, revoking freedom of speech, publication, association, and assembly. With the emergency, strict censorship was clamped down on newspapers and new laws were introduced. All four major news agencies, PTI, UNI, Hindustan Samachar, and Samachar Bharati, were merged into a single news agency, and a press code of conduct was introduced. Editors were arrested for dissent. The film Kissa Kursi Ka was seized, singer Kishore Kumar was blacklisted, and the film Andhi was also banned. During the emergency, police brutality and repression were widespread, with detainees facing inhuman treatment. Even the lawyers and judges were targeted. A notorious aspect of emergency was the forced involvement of teachers and low level staff in implementing family planning measures. Forced sterilizations and oppressive measures, disguised as family planning and beautification, led to widespread abuse of government power and severe hardship for ordinary people. In the 1971 elections, Indira Gandhi defeated Raj Narayan from the Rai Bareli seat, who later challenged her victory, citing misuse of government resources. In 1975, the Allahabad High Court invalidated her election and barred her from contesting elections for next 6 years. The Supreme Court upheld this but allowed her to remain the Prime Minister, attend Lok Sabha sessions, though without voting rights. Facing widespread public anger over unemployment, inflation, and corruption, and with the opposition demanding a resignation, Indira Gandhi's position was further weakened by the Allahabad High Court verdict of continuing as Prime Minister. To cling to power, she imposed the emergency, marking a dark chapter in Indian democracy. The emergency, which began at midnight on June 25, lasted until March 21, 1977. This 21-month long period was a dictatorial phase in India's democratic history that deeply affected the lives of ordinary citizens. However, the decision to impose the emergency proved disastrous for the Congress party. In 1977, the elections that followed, Congress faced a major defeat, and for the first time, a non Congress government led by Morarji Desai came to power. Bureau Report, DD India.